We'd like to welcome you to our debut episode of Parks Made Possible. I'm Nick.
I'm Kate.
And we're here to make your national parks trip possible. Each episode, we hope to cover what we love about specific parks that we've been to, that we've planned to, and we plan to bring you insights on having the best time possible. For our first episode, though, we want to share with you our top 5 tips of visiting any national park, any of the 63 wonderful places that the U.S. has federally protected. So these are tips to prepare you to make the most out of your time there and feel well-equipped when you visit. So a little background about us. Kate and I were married 13 years.
Yeah.
If I got that right. We have 2 boys who are a little older now, but when they were younger, we did a fair amount of family travel with them. So we've done the travel with little kids, flying with car seats, rental car issues. But we've also done a fair amount of travel, just 2 of us, couple travel.
Scouting trips.
Yeah.
I get to tag along to some of those.
You get to compliment me on my trip planning.
Yeah. I'm the guinea pig tester.
I'm happy that you're there. And then I do some solo travel. I guess I would call it backpacking, a lot of camping in the wilderness stuff. That's my happy place where I go. But that's I think a good reason to start talking about Trip Possible, the company that we're both a part of. So a few years back, it feels like forever at this point, but I left corporate America and started a company that planned vacations, and it was the best thing I've ever done. Got a lot of support from you doing it. But before too long, we morphed from just from doing any type of vacation. You can hopefully appreciate any new business, they'll do anything. We did Caribbean trips, beach vacations, road trips. But with your suggestions, you had kind of a business acumen as well. I found that a lot of the people I worked for, they wanted to go to national parks. It was a big topic, I guess, point of importance that they were targeting specific national parks all across the U.S. in these road trips and vacations they were planning for them. So, and that was already a huge topic of passion for me. I think my first national park visit was when we were really small. I went to Mammoth Cave National Park in Kentucky. Shortly thereafter, went to Mount Rainier. I flew out there with my dad on a business trip, and he took me to Mount Rainier, which is, if no one's seen that, that's like a big volcano-shaped mountain. It is a volcano in the Seattle area, and it just sort of, I think, piqued this interest, this love for national parks. So then when Trip Possible really started gaining a lot of momentum, but needed a little bit more of a focus, national parks immediately felt like the perfect fit. And here we are, years and years later, having our first podcast about it.
Here we are.
I love it. You want to get into the tips?
Let's do it.
All right. Okay, so tip 1 for visiting national parks: understand your park's peak season. What we mean by peak season, I know we'll go through the definitions on this, but what I mean by peak season is that specific national park's most busy time of year, their time of year for the highest visitation, if you will. And that could differ. That can be very different from parks like Glacier in Montana, which is very much July and August. It feels very crowded during that time for good reason, because Glacier's roads tend to cover with snow pretty early in the fall, and it lasts through almost July 4th. So, but then again, Grand Canyon has a peak season that tends to overlap with the hottest time of year in that area, and it can be kind of uncomfortable. It's another good example. Rocky Mountain. We were just in Rocky Mountain National Park a couple weeks ago.
It was very crowded.
Yes.
Yeah. So summertime obviously can be more crowded. Obviously, when kids are out of school, a lot of people take their summer vacations. People might have vacation time they want to spend in the summer when the weather's nicer.
Yeah.
So you'll definitely see a lot more crowds during that.
Yeah. And the reason, again, that understanding peak season is important is because what that translates to is more crowds, sometimes significantly more crowds, which we'll get into, by the way, spoiler on another tip in this episode. But the other big thing to remember is lodging. So that lodging can be really expensive in peak season. You know, gateway towns, the national parks, the people that thrive on visitation, they know it and they will charge for it. And sometimes if you're planning a last minute trip, you'll find that it can be super difficult to find affordable lodging if you hadn't planned ahead of time. So understand when the peak season is for a park. And if you're not locked in, if you're not a family that needs to travel to a national park when your kids are out of school, consider shoulder season, which I don't necessarily understand the shoulder season.
It's the sides of the peak if you're looking at like a line chart. It's like the peak is the middle and the shoulders are the sides.
Oh my gosh.
Up and down. Yeah. So shoulder seasons are the seasons that are like preceding and post-seeding. What's the word?
Yeah. After,
before and after the
peak, like the influx of all the visitors. So that's what we did when we visited our trip to Utah and Arizona, when we visited the Grand Canyon. That was
that October? Is that right?
Yeah, it was like late September, early October is when we were at the Grand Canyon. So the Grand Canyon's peak, I remember researching this recently, is July and August. Sure enough, when kids are out of school, when families are taking their family vacations. I mean, imagine how special it is for a family to say, "Hey, kids, we're going to the Grand Canyon." Of course, that's awesome. And then you get there and wow, this is the Grand Canyon, but everyone else is here too.
And it's also super hot during that peak season.
Yeah.
Fortunately, Arizona and July and August, you can imagine.
Yeah. Even though it's high up, it's very hot. Like the sun is close. But anyway, we went in September and October and it was insanely pleasant. I mean, never really felt too uncomfortable with the temperatures. The sunsets were awesome. It was not particularly crowded. So that's one of the tips. And we bring this up in a lot of the guidebooks that we sell about national parks is consider when you need to travel versus when you'd like to travel. You know, if you're stuck into dates, great, but your expectations need to be set appropriately for those dates. It can still be magical. If crowds really bother you, or if your dates are flexible, consider a shoulder season for a park.
One other thing too to note though is peak season also is around the weather systems that they have there. So
yes,
like if you go to Yosemite in May, which we did, it was beautiful. It wasn't super crowded. It still was very crowded, but
not nearly as bad as it would be in August, right?
But some of the roads weren't open yet because there was still a lot of snow on some of those higher mountain roads. So just something to consider if you're really wanting to hit a specific spot. Make sure that you look into when those roads are opening and what those road closures look like. Yeah,
it's a lot of work to prepare a park for peak season. You know, road plowing in a lot of the Mountain West is a thing. But it's funny. So Yosemite brought me. I want to mention also. I'll piggyback on that. How awesome were the waterfalls in Yosemite?
In May, yes.
When we were there,
all the snow melt. They were gushing. It was great.
Like I think Yosemite Falls, you could hear it 7 miles away. That the sound of that waterfall just echoed all through that valley. It was incredibly beautiful.
And the mist trail, what was the Vernal Falls?
Yeah, Vernal Falls is the name of that waterfall. Oh my gosh, stunning.
Lots of water.
But here's another thing for peak season. People visit in August and expect to see waterfalls in Yosemite, and they're not there. All the snow has melted in the mountains, and yet another reason. So really try to research a little bit or talk to us about when you're going to be visiting and what there is to expect at that time of year. So
we'll get more into Yosemite in our other post or podcast that we do.
Yes, more episodes in the future. That's got to be one of our favorite parks. Oh yeah, we'll talk about that for sure.
All right, let's go to the next tip.
Tip 2, know where to stay. So picking the best lodging for you, for your family, for your group. Incredibly important because it will dictate a lot of the pace of your trip and will kind of set the tone truly because a lot of national parks do have lodging inside the gates of the park. Yosemite is another great example of a place that has lodges inside the most sought after destination, Yosemite Valley. However, a park like Arches in Utah, very, very popular, highly visited, but There's no lodges, hotels, comfortable, truly places to stay inside Arches. It's a couple campgrounds. That's it. The nice thing about Arches, and this is an example we talked about, is it's very close to the town of Moab. So gateway towns, that a lot of the best national parks in the U.S. have gateway towns nearby that thrive on tourists, on visitation. So we like to say that picking lodging inside the gates of a park tends to create the best experience. We found that in Yosemite. We found that in Glacier. Oh my gosh, when we were at that campground in Glacier. Because it puts you, it skirts you around most of the crowds entering the park. The day visitors, people that come in from gateway towns or that come in for a weekend trip, they're sitting there in line at the ranger gate. You have already started your hike. It's great because you can go from lodging that's extremely close to the things you want to visit, and you don't have to sit in line there at the ranger gate. You don't have to wake up 2 hours early because you gotta, get breakfast. And it's better to just generally wake up close to the things you want to do.
We stayed in one of the lodges in Grand Canyon that one time, and we literally woke up, got our packs. We literally walked right down the street. The shuttle stop was like right by the lodge.
Yes.
We hopped on the shuttle. It took us right to the trailhead where we wanted to go, and it was super easy. We didn't have to deal with traffic or crowds that much. Just had to pack in what we needed. That was it.
It's excellent. It truly is the best way to do it. The trick, though, is that is the most in-demand lodging as well, generally speaking. A lot of the times national park lodges, hotels aren't the most comfortable. They're not what you might be used to if you check into like a Marriott or something like that. However, they definitely have the most character and they're perfectly located. But they're in the highest demand. And again, you'll probably end up paying for it because people know that's the best place to stay. And the other thing is, I think 9 to 10 months in advance is probably when you want to think about booking. Maybe even more, really, in some parks. So again, if comfort's important to you and a good, solid experience avoiding crowds, think about lodging inside a national park. And for the people that like camping, honestly, campgrounds are wonderful. The way to go.
I personally like a cold pillow and a nice supportive mattress at night. Maybe a little hot tub.
Yes.
My muscles are sore after hiking all day. That's my preference. But I could do some camping every once in a while.
Every now and then. I know. All right. Tip number 3. Here we go. This is great. Timed entry reservations. So for anyone not familiar with what those are, timed entry reservations are permits, passes that you need to obtain in order to gain access to a national park. And they're a product of over-tourism, generally, crowd control, congestion. And we've talked about this. They're a headache, but what'd you say?
I think they're needed. It helps to control the crowds. It's just, they're stressful to obtain sometimes. You have to you can talk more about this, but you log on at a certain time, a certain number of months in advance, and then you have to get in a queue of people and you have to wait. And there's another release that's, I think, the night before. Anyway, you can go into more detail.
Yeah, they are a good thing. They really are. I think it's a shame that a lot of people that don't like the timed entry reservations tend to argue that, hey, these are America's parks. They belong to everybody. Why are you making me get a reservation to enter my park? But American tourists, well, I guess any tourist that enters national parks haven't proved good stewardship over the years. We tend to destroy things sometimes, act like animals, hurt animals. Anyway, what we found that I think the National Park Service has done a lot of good research on this, that controlling almost throttling like a faucet, controlling the amount of people that enter a park at certain times of day is generally a great way of protecting that park from over tourism and providing a better experience for the people that go.
And these reservations are just for like the main core hours of a day, correct?
Yeah.
So like if I don't get a reservation, what are my options?
Yeah. So Rocky Mountain, we were just there. That's a good example, because if you want to enter Rocky Mountain National Park on really any day in June, July, or August, the dates are more precise than that. Anytime between the hours of 5 a.m. and 6 p.m., you need a timed entry reservation. So if you don't obtain that, they like you said, they have 2 releases, one maybe 2 months in advance and another the night before. If you don't obtain that, your options are enter the park before 5 a.m. or after 6 p.m. or walk in. They generally, if you're driving a car, they need a pass, but sometimes there's shuttles that allow you to not need a timed entry reservation. But generally speaking, you really do, you need, if there's a park that's on your list that you want to visit and it requires an entry reservation, you need to be pretty diligent about getting it.
Do all the parks require a reservation?
No, there's, I want to say 10-ish that have some sort of reservation needed, maybe 5 or 6 where anywhere in the park, any entrance station requires one. But then there's some like Zion. We were at Zion in Utah. That you don't need a permit to enter the park per se, but if you want to hike that Angel's Landing hike, which we didn't do.
I'm scared of heights.
We did a hike that was almost as excellent, I felt like. But if you want to hike Angel's Landing, yes, you need a permit now. I mean, imagine that.
Well,
years ago, that would turn people off,
Honestly, I think that is a good thing. The Angel's Landing Trail is very thin, and there's like cables that you have to cross. And if I was out there by myself, I would probably be able to do it, but I don't trust other people, and people getting their Instagram shots. And when you're literally standing on like 2 sides of a cliff, like right in the middle,
1,500 foot cliff. It truly.
So I would suggest getting a reservation for that. Well, not suggest, that is required at this point.
But that's another thing. These permits, they're good. They're stressful to obtain sometimes, but that is something that's possible that we do. I mean, we advise on it. It's in our guidebooks about how to go about that. And then for other levels of planning, like we do it for you. And that's we've done it hundreds of times. So it doesn't stress me out as much as it used to. I feel like we're good at it at this point, but all right. Tip 4.
Number 4.
What's next? Here we go. We teased this earlier, knowing the truth about crowds and traffic. There's no getting around it. I think visiting national parks these days during their peak season is a crowded experience. There's traffic, there's swaths of people sometimes, but I really do believe that's a product of some, maybe you didn't plan properly, generally speaking. Our guidebooks are littered with like crowd avoidance tactics, because you do need to go out of your way a little bit to get into a park earlier than you're comfortable. You're not gonna, sleeping in a national park is not a good idea,
Yeah.
Because you get into a park after 9 or 10 a.m. and guess what? So did everybody else. So
limited parking spaces. The trails are super crowded. If you're trying to enjoy nature and like be present, it's really hard to do that because there's people everywhere, and there's a lot of like safety concerns sometimes. It depends what hike you're doing.
Yeah.
If you're going up a mountain and other people are coming down, you have to be diligent about passing safely. So getting up early is definitely number 1 recommendation.
It is. It truly is. And I argue that the parks are at their best early in the morning. It's an amazing time to see wildlife. The best time to see wildlife is early morning. Fraction of the people, most people don't want to wake up early on a vacation. But I think it enhances your experience when you can get into a park and watch it wake up, like watch it come to life.
Watching the sunrise. Was that in Zion? That mountainside that kind of started glowing?
Yes.
That was really cool.
Good one. That was, that's right. It like lit up that entire canyon wall in red and pink. Super pretty. People miss that if you roll out of bed late, or or if you're not doing it right. That's big. I do think though that I don't think all crowds are created equal too. Like when I hope that part of this podcast, I want people to feel empowered, excited optimistic about visiting national parks, because they're almost always worth it, truly. And so don't let the warning about crowds and traffic scare you off. I think that crowds in Disney World are a lot different than the crowds you would experience in a national park. Like,
yes,
I hope I'm not. Yeah, right. I mean,
yeah, like waiting in line for a ride, or like trying to make reservations to like eat at a special restaurant at a certain time.
Yeah,
like that's a whole nother level of stress and crowd management. That
it's different.
It's different.
There's a reason that you're in a beautiful national park and not in a queue for a roller coaster, or on a beach in Panama City. You know, not that there's anything wrong with it, but there's a reason that you chose this vacation and not those ones. Same with all the other people that you're standing next to in a national park. Generally, people have the correct mindset. They're thoughtful. They're respectful. Sometimes you do run. I would say rarely, and I don't know if I've ever really ran into really bad tourists. You see them on Instagram sometimes, but generally people are great. They're respectful. They're there for the right reasons. You know, they want to see beautiful natural places. So the fact that there are crowds at Old Faithful in Yellowstone, of course there are, because it's spectacular and people want to see that. But it doesn't feel the same as, as a Disneyland or something like that. So anyway, crowds, traffic, they set your expectation. I think mindset's everything.
Yeah.
Truly. Know that they're there, but don't let it dissuade you from going. Just be prepared. That's all.
Yeah. I remember one other crowd example, getting into the park for Glacier. That one time we were.
Oh, yeah.
There was a lot of traffic, and I hate traffic. I hate it. It's like the biggest waste of time ever. So we went in expecting to have traffic. And
I think we even got like a morning reservation for like the 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. time slot.
Yeah. Yes. And I think when we pulled up to the gates and there was a line backed up, we were like, oh gosh, but we kind of took a deep breath and we're like, all right, let's start playing like the state game. And we like started seeing
state capitals.
If we could match the capitals to the states. And sadly, we actually did get through all 50 states, I think, before we got to the gate.
We did.
But there were 4 adults.
Missed a couple.
We missed a few. Capitals. We ended up asking the ranger at the gate what the capital of Illinois was.
Oh, yeah. That's the one we couldn't get. Anyway. Springfield or something. I forget now what it is, but the ranger got it right.
Yeah.
Of course.
Anyway, just
but that was big though, because we had the day prior, we had done exactly what we wanted, a big epic hike, like a beautiful, stunning hike, but it gassed us, man. It took it out of us. We like woke up the next day. Well, the night prior, we were super tired, and we knew we needed to get our timed entry reservation for the next day, because we had read that the hike we wanted to do the next day, parking fills up. I think people were saying parking fills up at 5 a.m. or something.
Yeah.
At the Logan Pass Visitor Center in Glacier.
It's a smaller parking lot, so I could see why. But there's a lot of trailheads that took off from that spot.
Yeah. And we were like, do we want to get up at 4 a.m. just to drive to this? So I think us and our friends who were with us, we decided like, no, let's go. Let's wake up. We'll get a 7 to 9 a.m. time slot reservation. And if there's no parking, this is another key. We had a plan B. Plan A was we get there, we're
find a parking spot.
Yeah, right. We get lucky, we find a spot, and we take this epic hike. I think it was to Haystack Butte or something like that. Sure enough, we get there. There is zero parking and lines of traffic. We pivoted. We ended up driving a little bit further on, going to the Sun Road as our plan B. Picnicked at some incredible like viewpoint.
Yeah, I found a parking spot at some like turn in the road, and every view on that road is just so beautiful. So
oh my gosh, truly.
We had a little picnic lunch and sat and watched the mountainscape, and it was just as wonderful.
It really was, because we were in Glacier, and it was stunning.
I like your tip of like having a plan B though. Just You know,
Yeah.
if you get to a spot and you're like, well, crap, we can't hike here, or we can't find a parking spot,
Yep.
or it's too crowded, like maybe pivot, find something off the beaten path a little bit, and it's still
Yeah, that plan B was possible because we had researched it, but also because we packed our lunch, right?
Yes, yeah.
Which is tip 5. Hilarious segue. Prepare what you pack. That is so underrated. It's not like tip 5 because it's the least important. But it deserves to be on the list of the most important tips for a national park is pack properly. Think about what you're putting in your car, in your backpack, in your pockets. I mean, we were able to enjoy that picnic on going to the Sun Road because we had a cooler with our lunch in it. We knew we were going to be out all day. In addition to that, we had probably plenty of extra water, right? Multiple jugs of water, changes of clothes because you get sweaty and dirty on a hike.
Or if you fall in a creek, that has happened with kids before where they get miserable and we're like, don't worry, we've got the extra pair.
Yep.
Throw on the clean socks, dry socks, and everybody's happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or like our friend who thought he was stepping, do you remember this?
Yes, I do.
In Glacier. Yeah, I thought he was just stepping on another step closer to get a good view of the lake we got to. And it was how would you just, like a bog?
Like quicksand.
Yeah.
Like his leg literally went down, like mid-thigh. He was like
almost up to his waist, one leg, and he just gasped as he fell into quicksand, essentially. And
and I turned around and I legit thought he was sinking in quicksand, and I'm like, no. So he had backup pants for that, or a swimsuit.
Exactly. He even had a swimsuit. That's right. Because we got to the car, and then he hopped in McDonald Creek or something like that in Glacier. And yeah. Prepare what you pack. It's important because what I think that does when you have the right stuff with you, on you, near you, it extends your day past what you think it could be. I mean, it gives you reasons to continue to stay in the park versus reasons to leave, call it quits early. You don't want to do that. You've come all the way out here. You got everyone together. You took time off work. Why quit early when some snack bars in your car, a cool towel, dry clothes, when those things could help extend your day by another 3 or 4 hours? I think it's just so valuable.
Top tip of what to pack is definitely snacks. Especially when you're with kids. Like, you seriously literally just leave the trailhead and they're like, I'm hungry, or they start whining, and you bring, like, I don't know, Sour Patch Kids or something that's just like a little boost of energy that's like, oh gosh, I love Sour Patch Kids, these are the best thing ever. So it like helps to kind of stave off the angry bear kids that will come out on your trail hikes if you don't have the right stuff. But bring whatever your kids like. Sour Patch Kids might be your thing.
Hey, a boost of sugar, anything is helpful sometimes.
Yeah. Also, rain gear. Always bring it, even if you think you don't need it.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when you're in the mountains. What park were we at recently? Oh, it was Smoky Mountains.
Oh, yeah. Great Smoky Mountains. Yes.
We had gone on a hike. It was a great hike. We were driving back and we were like, oh, we'll just stop for one more.
Oh my gosh. When you and our oldest son. Yeah.
It kind of looked like it was maybe going to rain. It was starting to maybe, but he was like, did not want to go back. He wanted to hike more. He was like in his element, loving the outdoors, which we embrace. And I wasn't ready to go back either. So I was like, let's go. Hop on this hike, and it starts thundering, and we're like, crap, like, should we turn back? And check my radar, everything. It was just like a little rainstorm. So, and it wasn't high on a mountain. So I'm not.
Yeah, right. You were not hiking peaks or ridge lines, which we would never advise that in a thunderstorm. Yeah.
So
this is down through a forest.
The little rain picked up and it started downpouring, and people are like flooding off of the mountain that we were like starting to climb up.
They're running back to their cars. Yeah.
They're like, it's pouring. And some people are wearing like dresses, and like they were not wearing appropriate hiking attire.
Flip-flops, probably.
Potentially, yes.
We see hikers in flip-flops way too often. I feel like.
It doesn't seem comfortable. Like, I would get rocks and stuff under my shoes. Anyway, so my oldest son and I, we kept going. We had our rain jackets on with a little hat.
Yep.
Had our hiking boots, or waterproof hiking boots on, and we kept going. He didn't want to stop. I was like, great, this is great. We were along a little river, and we made it to this little cave, and it was still downpouring at that point. But honestly, we didn't feel like we were getting that wet. It was raining, but anyway.
Well, I remember you showing me photos from this hike. You had the trail to yourself at that point.
Very peaceful.
In a popular national park. You think about that. I mean, and maybe this is like a good bonus tip number 6, bonus, whatever you want to call it. Like, don't let the weather stop you. That's a great point. You were prepared for it.
Yeah.
And everyone else had to quit early. You guys kept going, and you got a really special experience out of it.
Yeah.
You hiked. I remember you telling me about it. You hiked up to this really magical little cave with
little
stairs that were cut in the rock.
Yeah. It was really cool.
The stream followed you all the way down. You wouldn't be able to do that if you didn't have your rain gear.
Yeah. I think also too, wearing layers is important, because especially if you're getting into the park early in the morning, it's super cold sometimes. Like you'll have a beanie on, or like a coat, layers, like extra layers. But then as the day goes on, obviously it's going to get hotter. You'll get heated up as you're hiking. So being able to take those layers off and cool off, just be ready for anything.
This is making me think like we could easily do another episode on the next 5 tips to visiting a national park.
There's so many more.
Yeah, these are. I think this is a really good start, though. These are big. Again, we want people to get out there and explore them, and we think that these 5 or 6-ish tips make you feel well equipped to do that. Truly, I do. Is there anything else you wanted to add, though? Like if I forgot anything?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
All right. Cool. Well, I think that this is a great start. We're going to be putting a lot more content out there. I think there's a lot of neat topics to talk about with national parks. Truly, episodes about our favorite hikes, things that not to miss, and then we'll start drilling down to individual parks, episodes on Zion, on Glacier, on Yosemite, which I think we can go into a lot more detail about things to target, things to avoid. Truly helpful topics. So we'll get into that, but that's it. I think I want to say thank you to anyone who listened. Like, subscribe, ring the bell, do all those things. Yeah. Thank you very much. All right. Bye.